Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Social Book Sales, how to sell more books without spending a dime on advertising. I'm Audrey Knapp, and today I'm presenting you with part 3 of our 4-part series, Grow, because growth is critical to optimizing all of your avenues for free promotion for you and your book, and to sell as many books as possible without ad spend. We're going to talk about how content, planning, and outreach are the 3 pillars you need to master in order to achieve the kind of growth that will give you those book sales. Now, content. A lot of people struggle with content. They don't really know what to post every day. It's the most common complaint that I hear. Now, so I've come up with some categories that seem to be, the common thread behind what every author can post, just about. So read through these categories, develop your own list, take notes as I'm talking, and let's have a conversation in the comments as well. But for now, let's talk about these different categories that you can use to make sure that you're coming up with content and don't have content block, so to speak. Behind the scenes. Now, you should definitely limit these, but behind the scenes should be clear, should show your workspace or be a selfie or your word count of your work in progress, or something from behind the scenes, even if it's like the way you edit. Do you print everything off and read through and red pen things that stand out to you that you need to change? Go ahead and include these in behind the scenes type of content. And we group all this different content under categories so that it's easier to determine rotations, to ensure variation, and help our planning, which we're going to talk about next. But for now, dialogue. This is a great category to definitely put in your content rotation, because it shows potential readers that you can carry a conversation through text, which some people struggle with this, and readers want to know ahead of time that your method of dialogue isn't going to take them out of the story. And then setting. Your descriptive writing should be very powerful, and it should show the reader that you can really draw them in and make them feel a part of the place and time that you're describing. So powerful 1 to 2 line excerpts. This is like he said, she said, or their eyes met and the sparks flew kind of thing. Something that's highly shareable, definitely. Something that somebody will want to share or repost or retweet, things like that, or repin. Definitely share those kinds of excerpts. Summaries of events or relationships between characters. That's something a lot of people don't think about. But definitely use summaries as a way to give readers a sneak peek behind the scene. All that info dump you did that you're not including in your novel can absolutely be part of these categories. Catchphrases for your series or your novel, your synopsis. I would take sections of this and post it, perhaps like text on different images. And by the way, you should always include images or videos, as these get the highest engagement rates on any social media platform. So try to stay away from just text alone and go with some great images. Anyway, reviews. Any reviews you have, and if you say, well, I don't have a lot of reviews, don't worry. If they're long reviews, you can split them up too and focus on different aspects of each review. So quotes by other authors and hopefully similar authors who inspire you. And before you get worried about comparing yourself with another author or seeing who compares to you, definitely step back and think, whose readers would also want to read my books? Because that's what we're really going for here. We're going to capture the attention of people who like authors who actually may be interested in our work. They would probably read our work. So quotes is great. Make sure they're inspiring quotes that you actually like, so it's authentic, but definitely try to capture the attention of readers who care about authors who you share the same target audience with. So these are some categories really to get you started. I would highly recommend, tailoring this list to your own needs, your own preferences and desires and your style, and then making sure you have a nice complete list of categories that you can use to develop content. And then this actually simplifies your social media planning immensely. Now, quality. This is so important to talk about when we're discussing content, because if you're not, creating quality content, it's wasted effort, it's wasted time. And if you spent money on your graphic software, it's wasted money too, because it's not going to effectively promote you and your work. In fact, it can have the opposite effect. People, if they see continually sloppy, blurry, fuzzy, or pixelated, images or terrible videos, they're gonna like, why, how is this relevant? And it's not gonna feel professional to them, and they can unfollow you. And we don't wanna do that, unfollow or, turn off notifications or, what have you, depending on the platform. But the thing is, it's just important to remember that bad content turns people off and turns them away. You can send them running for the hills with crappy content. So just don't do that. Quantity. So a lot of people say, well, how many times a day do I post? Most platforms, the ideal amount to post is once per day. So Facebook and Instagram, these are the ones that, once per day, you're going to get your best engagement, you're going to get your best ranking by posting once per day. Twitter, no more than 3, no less than 3, not 2, not 4. If you're a Monty Python fan, you'll kind of get where I'm going. But Twitter, absolutely 3 times a day is where you will get your peak engagement, and it will help you rank better. Pinterest. Now, this is fantastic about Pinterest. They are different than everybody else. They don't post or share something. It's not chronology isn't critical to Pinterest. You could post something 2 years ago and it could still be driving traffic to you today, as I mentioned previously. Definitely with Pinterest, it's really all about quality. So having a board that your readers, your potential future readers, actually enjoy because it's entertaining, inspiring, educational, or informative, which seem to be very similar. But having those content that actually has those qualities is what's going to keep their attention. And when you're thinking about something you're going to pin to your board, and whether it's content you created or content that you're gathering, curating, then just ask yourself this question. Put yourself in the reader's shoes and say, does this intrigue me? Does it catch my interest? Do I care about it? And if the answer is no, then don't post it. Curate a really good Pinterest board that you can attract readers with, but really focus on that quality. Quantity isn't that much of a deal with Pinterest, except that you do want to have a nice full board that has a good theme, strong uniting elements, things like that. But again, quality with Pinterest. Twitter is 3 posts per day. Instagram and Facebook are once per day. Now, if you are doing LinkedIn, which isn't listed here, and because you're doing business writing, then absolutely try to post 1 great article per week. Planning. Planning is so important. And now that you have your list of categories, this is going to make it so much easier to plan. It's critical to creating quality content and effectively using social media to grow the audience that will buy your books without you spending money to ask them to buy your books. So what I like to do is you can use the monthly planning calendar that I've attached below. So it's just below this video. And you take that list of categories and you rotate a different category through each day. So when you get to the bottom of your list, you just start back at the top again and rotate it through the rest of the day's month, just like that. And once you do that, it just takes a few minutes, really. It just takes a few minutes to rotate all those categories through each of the days, and you may tweak it to, accommodate holidays or other special days or, book promo days and release days, things like that. But once you have that, then planning weekly or monthly makes it so much easier. Sit down on a Saturday or Sunday, take like an hour to plan out what you're going to post for the week in each of those categories. Once you have those categories, you automatically have something to brainstorm and something to pull. It's your guide. It's really your roadmap for your social media posting. So we make this super simple. You use that calendar, use the categories, and then sit down and plan out a week ahead. And if you are really ambitious, you can plan out, develop, and schedule the entire month. But definitely at least a week ahead, plan it out, and don't do it more or less than 24 hours before you want content to go out, because you're going to feel rushed. You're going to be like, oh God, I got to get this out. And then your quality is going to be diminished. And I want you to have the highest quality possible, because if you're not putting out quality content, you are not being effective in spending your time energy doing this. So definitely focus on quality, do this ahead of time, and then guess what? For the next week, you don't have to worry about what to post next because it's all on autopilot. I like to call it crockpot social media, because you create it, you plan it, you create it in maybe Canva or Photoshop, and then you schedule it out in Hootsuite, and then set it and forget it, right? Crockpot social media. So that's my fun little way of thinking about it, but it really does work to reduce the amount of overwhelm and then free you up for the rest of the week to do other really important activities like write your next book, or guest blog, or get interviewed on a podcast. There's a lot of things that have to be done, and you want to free up your time while still maintaining an active and effective social media presence that is growing. Okay, so we're growing your audience and your reader base, and it's so much easier to do that when you already have everything planned, created, and scheduled out, because it's already done. So definitely do that. And I use this rotation of categories, and not just do like one type of category a week, but daily, because it gives a variation of teasers. It gives intriguing content, and the planning that ensures quality makes sure that readers really have something to look forward to when they see your posts or they visit your accounts. Now, outreach is something I call active marketing strategies, okay? Our active marketing strategy. So a lot of times we post out on social media and we just post it out, leave it, forget about it, and move on with our day. That is passive marketing, because you're expecting people to come to you. If you need to grow, if you say, I need more followers on whatever social media platform, then the most important thing for you to do, after, of course, ensuring that all your content is scheduled out so that you're consistent, is outreach. And outreach is active marketing. And there's actually a ton of free ways to do outreach. Now, these are the no-cost active marketing strategies, and I've also found a list. I have a bunch of free and paid websites, so you have to sift through for the free ones, but the free ones that will list you and your work. So I'm going to post that in the comments below this video, so definitely check or look out for that. Now, the no-cost active marketing strategies, you've got Facebook. There are Facebook groups built on every topic imaginable. So if you have a genre about fantasy, there's definitely one for fantasy readers. And if you're writing fantasy, surely you've read fantasy, right? So you will actually be able to go into that group and be part of some great conversations. But that's the thing. Be active, be part of conversations. Don't be a spammer. Don't do #BuyMyBook. That is so obnoxious, and it's really rude. You're putting yourself first rather than the reader. So make sure, and I say, well, how do we go in these places and have these conversations and actually, people learn to care about, our work as an author if we're not promoting ourselves and saying, buy my book? That's where your Facebook profile cover comes in, because when people hover over your name, not only does your profile picture pop up, but the cover behind your Facebook profile picture comes up as well. And that should say, hey, I'm the author of the fantasy series XYZ. And you can find me on Instagram at username, or on Twitter at username, or here's my Facebook page, or like my Facebook page. Give them an action. So that's definitely really important to know, that if you're interacting on Facebook, don't go just spam. I see a lot of groups, and it was really disappointing. But I've seen a lot of groups that are just, author promotion groups, and then you go in there, nobody's active, because all people do is go in there, post their books, and they leave. There's no interaction. They're massive groups, but nobody's actually active in them. So it's wasted time and effort. Nobody is seeing it. All right. And with those massive groups and nobody's seeing, there's a ton of really bad spam in there that, you don't want to be connected with. So anyway, on Instagram, what you got to do is go out and look for the readers who would be interested in what you're doing. And for example, you can do that by searching different hashtags, like #MReading, bookworm, book nerd, bookish. And Bookstagram. Oh my goodness. You will find readers in your genre, people who love what you write. But this is the way we give them a digital tap on the shoulder and say hi and invite them to come look at what we have to offer. And when I say go out and find these people, you go out, you like some of their content, you comment genuinely, authentically, try to start a conversation around their content, and maybe you guys like the same book. Start a conversation on that, and this will just naturally be a way to say, hey, and they'll come look at your stuff. They'll check out your profile. And if you have great content, if you have quality, if you have teasers, if you're not just sell, and you have that variation based on those categories I gave you, they're going to be able to better judge whether or not you have something they want to read. And they're going to know that you're an author, because it's not just all behind the scenes stuff, of your life. If it looks like a personal account, why would they want to follow you? If they don't know you, it's just kind of awkward. So Pinterest, same thing. Go out, find people, like their content, start conversations. Twitter, same deal. Now, if you're writing historical fiction, just for example, you can go out and find local groups and organizations that focus on local history. And absolutely, like I said, same idea. You go, you have conversations, you connect with people, you build relationships. And that is how they say, hey, so what do you do? Or how did you develop your interest in this? And you say, I actually wrote a book on this. And you can actually find groups like this on Facebook. You'll have like a remember when in insert name of town, remember when in Charlestown, remember when in Wayland. And these groups are all about, local history. So you can find these groups on Facebook too. And again, you just start with conversation, and if it comes up and how did you learn about this, you can say, oh, I wrote about it in my book. Don't link your book. Just wait for them to ask, oh, where can I find it? Because that's naturally the next step of a conversation, and not just a promotional opportunity. Promotional opportunity, people tend to jump the gun and say, oh, because I wrote a book and you can find it here. No, just say I wrote a book, and let them come to you and ask for that information. Otherwise, you're going to get marked as a spammer, and people aren't going to want to interact with you because they're afraid that you present them with the idea that they should buy your book, and then they're going to feel bad about saying no. So try not to turn people off. Really have authentic conversations that can lead to you being an author and having something that they may be interested in. And it sounds long and hard and tedious, but it's really not. And you're going to meet wonderful people doing this. You're going to meet your biggest fans, and your biggest fans aren't going to be, like misery. It's going to be people, especially when we're indie authors and things like this, it's going to be people that you build relationships with. So that's why we have social media, so we can build great relationships and, find our cheerleaders. But they're not going to be our cheerleaders unless we're real and authentic and care about them too. It's not all about us. The universe doesn't revolve around us. So just think about themes and subjects presented in your writing, and that have interest groups throughout the web. So you can check Reddit, for example, or conduct Google searches for different kinds of forums based on your topic. If you're writing about, fishing, then absolutely you should find a fishing forum somewhere on the web, and fishing groups on Facebook and things like that, and use hashtags, search hashtags on Instagram about it. See, there's so many ways that you can find your audience and go out. Use the idea of outreach to go out and give them a digital tap on the shoulder if you're not, at a meeting for a local group, but give them, a digital tap on the shoulder and say, hey, start a conversation, and they will come to look at your stuff. So this is outreach, this is active marketing, and this will by far get you the best results, because when people are sold on you, they don't need to second guess an instinct to buy your book. So recap, we've talked about the importance of high quality content, how critical planning is to making sure you have quality content, you have variation, that you can intrigue potential future readers. And we've talked about one of the most important things to your growth, outreach, which is an active marketing strategy. So definitely use some of these ideas. I hope this has got your brain just teeming with ideas about how you can find your potential future readers. And just one big reminder, don't spam ever. Wait for people to ask you for the link to your book. That is one of the best pieces of advice you'll ever hear, okay? So I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave your comments below. Make sure you get your goodies. I've got 2 of them for you. And I will see you tomorrow with part 4.